I don't know how to say this, but I don't know if this will help me or not. But I have been married to my wife for 23 years and found out that my wife was a full-time swinger. And I was absolutely shocked. She is a school principal and I never thought she had the behavior to do this. How could I miss the signs that my wife was sleeping with all these men? I was absolutely devastated. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I could not believe that the woman I loved had betrayed me in such a horrible way. I did everything for this woman. I worked hard to provide for her. I was a good husband and I thought I was a good provider as well. Let me back up a bit. We did have a conversation about an open relationship and I didn't want that, but I did not know she was already swinging. And she blamed me for not agreeing to the open relationship. She complained I was a bit boring and didn't want to try anything new. And that was the last thing she said about it. When I found out she was swinging, I didn't even confront her. I reflected on the conversation we had about me not agreeing to an open relationship, saying I was boring and didn't want to try anything new. How did I find out she was cheating, you ask? Well, social media, of course, and I don't even check my social media. I haven't checked Twitter in years, but for some reason I decided to today. And as soon as I logged in, I saw a notification. One of my friends had tagged me in a tweet. It was a picture of my wife kissing another guy at this club, which I later found out was a swingers club. I was in shock. I didn't even know what to do. I just sat there staring at the screen in a daze, but that was the day I decided I was done. I didn't deserve any of that because I didn't want to share my wife, and she decided she was going to do what she wanted to do. Anyway, I make almost 6 figures a year, a little more than her school principal job. But this woman had access to my bank accounts. Both of them. After gathering my thoughts, I went to work the next day and opened up a new bank account, one that my wife didn't know about, and started transferring money into it. It was slow at first because I had to be careful not to raise any suspicion, but after a few months, I had almost $50,000 in there. I also started looking for a new place to live, one where my wife wouldn't be able to find me. After I completed all of these preliminary steps, I decided to call a divorce attorney to see what divorce would look like for me. He tells me that since we have been married for so long and we do not have any kids, that it would be an easy divorce, but I might have to pay some alimony. I then asked the attorney, what if she cheated? Would I still have to pay alimony? He told me in the state of Texas, adultery can affect the outcome of alimony. But since we have been married for so long, again, it would have to be up to the judge. Armed with this information, I decided to move forward with my plans. Part of my plan was to hire a private investigator to gather as much evidence as possible. Hopefully that will help me in the form of not paying a lot of alimony, if any at all. I called a couple of private investigators, but the one I decided to go with was highly recommended by a friend. After meeting with him and explaining what I wanted, I agreed and gave him a check for half up front and the other half when he completed the job. A few weeks go by and I don't hear from him. So, I give him a call. He tells me that he has been following her and that she is definitely cheating on me. He has gotten pictures of her with different men, all of which he has sent to my email. I thanked him and told him to keep up the good work. Fast forward a few weeks and I get a call from him telling me he has more evidence, but this time it's video. He tells me he has video of her going in a hotel with one of the guys she has been seen with on more than one occasion. I then forwarded the video to my attorney with a note telling him that this is what I have on my wife and her lovers, and that I want to use it in our divorce proceedings. At this point, my wife doesn't know anything. She doesn't know that I have moved money. She doesn't know that I have started looking for a new place to live. She certainly does not know about me filing for divorce. A few weeks have passed. My behavior hasn't changed towards her, still telling her I love her, etc. All the while, my private investigator has been gathering lots of evidence of her with different men, even taking these men to places her and I went to. It was heartbreaking to see all of this, but I had to stay strong. Remember, I was also looking for a new place to live and I found one. It was perfect, and my wife didn't even know it existed. I secretly asked for some vacation time at work and told my wife I was taking some time off of work to maybe do some housework. Her response was okay. Sounds like a plan. But that wasn't my plan. My plan was while she was at work, go to my new place and get it together and furnished. I was not going to take any of the old furniture to the new place. She can have it. It hurts that I have to do this, but it's what I need to do. That's where I am at the moment. I just submitted my vacation to my boss and just waiting for the right time to put this all in motion. I will come back with an update as soon as I am mentally able. TLDR, just recently found out my wife of 23 years was a full-time swinger. Hello, everyone. I promised to come back with an update on my situation. As you know, I found out through social media, Twitter, that my wife, she's a school principal, was a full-time swinger. I had moved quite a bit of money from the accounts we shared, and I started having my Tech Direct deposited into the new account. I also took some vacation days from work just so I could get my new place together while she was at work. My attorney has since filed for divorce on my behalf, and my private investigator has been gathering evidence of her infidelity. Well, a few weeks ago, I was at the house packing. My soon-to-be ex-wife was at work. I hear a knock at the door. It was a process server with divorce papers. They were from my wife, but I just simply put the envelope on the kitchen counter. I thought to myself, this is perfect timing. I immediately stopped packing and gathered the information my private investigator had gathered for me. All the pictures and video on a memory stick took me about 30 minutes to put that together. So I resumed packing because I didn't want to be there when she came home. She usually gets home around 6 p.m. or so, but I had enough time to get my clothes and other odds and ends. I wasn't taking any furniture. At about 4 p.m., I had managed to get all of my things out of the house and head over to my new place, which is about 35 minutes from the house. Shortly after 7 p.m., I get this long text. She didn't call asking me what did I want from the divorce. I told her I would be willing to split the proceeds of the sale of the home with you, but that's it. I am not paying you any alimony. I told her, I think it would be in our best interest to settle this on our own outside of a courtroom. I indicated I already had an attorney. She interrupted me and asked me about the memory stick. I told her it was evidence of her cheating, and I had given it to my attorney. She then says, I will give you the house if I would destroy the memory stick. I hesitated and asked her why. She then says, because I don't want anyone to see the videos or pictures. It would ruin my reputation. And she said, as a school principal, it would be devastating. I told her I would consider it, but when and if we sold the house, I would give her something, but it won't be much. Fast forward a few weeks. My soon-to-be ex-wife calls and asks, have I thought about what she said in reference to the memory stick? She indicates that she has been stressing over that. I told her that I had, and I would destroy it only after I talked to my attorney. I called my attorney and asked him, what should I do in this situation? He said, you can have her sign an agreement or deed the house over to you, but you would have to file it with the county. I had my attorney draw up a quitclaim deed for both of us to sign, and I told my wife, if she wanted the memory stick destroyed, she would have to sign the quitclaim deed, making me the sole owner of the house. I did destroy the memory stick, the one I told her I had, but I kept the copy for good measure. Throughout all of this, it seems her only concern was the memory stick. She never asked about the divorce or anything else. We continued with the divorce, but she agreed not to show up, and I would be granted the divorce by default. That's exactly what happened. 3 months went by. We sold the house for $475,000, and I gave her $100,000. I kept the rest. We didn't have a mortgage, so it was mostly profit. My ex-wife was more worried about her reputation as a school principal than the divorce. She didn't even care. I never thought this would turn out like this, but I think I prevailed. No long-term alimony to her. She got some cash, but that's because I wouldn't feel right. She put some work into that house as well. Anyway, I appreciate all the